It's Ash from SuperVideos back with another video for The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live. This is going to be a character spotlight on the character of Pearl Thorne. We're going to be talking about whether she's the big bad of Season 1 of The Ones Who Live. We're also going to talk about the possibility of Rick killing Pearl at some point near the end of the season and the outcomes of Rick killing Pearl. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. So first and foremost, let's talk about who we initially thought was the big bad of the first season of The Ones Who Live. Maybe even the big bad of the Walking Dead universe, and that is Major General Beale. Now, of course, at this point, it does not appear that Major General Beale will be the big bad. I mean, he's barely been in the first season, and we're like 4 episodes in already. With only like 3 episodes to go, including the 4th, it's highly unlikely that he's gonna have any influential or important role that would make him the real big bad of the season. So that's definitely super interesting. Now, it doesn't mean that Major General Beale is just gonna get killed by the end. If he does, that will be super awkward and it wouldn't make a lot of sense. I think that it's more likely than not that he will stay alive by the end of the season and just come back at some point in the future, which means that he's not really the big bad of the first season of The Ones Who Live. Now, there are really 2 big bads. One is Pearl, who we're talking about in this video, and another one is Jadis. I will be talking about Jadis in a separate video coming up, so stay tuned for that. But when it comes to Pearl, I think there's something very interesting going on between Rick and Pearl. I mean, one of the things I've heard a lot is that there is some sort of love triangle between Pearl, Rick, and Michonne. And I don't think that's the case. I think that's a little too out there and a little too cliche, to be honest. And they're marketing this to be Rick and Michonne's love story. Why would they bring in a third person and make it a love triangle? It just doesn't make sense. Plus, the actress who plays Pearl Thorne said that this was not the case and that if it was, she wasn't going to do it because she thought that it was cliche. So that's further proof that that's not the case. So what is Pearl's purpose? Of course, at the beginning, we saw an alliance between Rick and Pearl. It was like a rivalry, but at the same time, there was a lot of respect there. And it was like the 2 of them were moving up together. Of course, with Okafor's death, they became even closer because before that, Pearl was closer to Okafor than she was with Rick. But when Okafor died, the relationship or the friendship between Pearl and Rick became stronger. And even though earlier on, Pearl was actually helping Rick in covering up for the situation with Dana, aka Michonne, things quickly changed. And even now, even though she still doesn't know that this is Michonne and who Michonne is, she's trying to take her out or get rid of her in some way. Now, there's 2 ways. One is that she could be seeing her presence as being something that stops the friendship between Rick and herself, so she doesn't want to see any competition in that sense. Or maybe it is what she said, which is that she's going to be dragged down by Michonne if she continues to make these mistakes in terms of not really sticking to what she's supposed to be doing. But I think, long story short, it appears that Pearl is definitely the big bad of Season 1, especially after she got promoted to a higher rank at the CRM. She has a lot more pull in that organization. And of course, because she was briefed by Major General Beale, the whole echelon briefing thing, it appears that she's more engaged and she's more loyal to the CRM, way more than she was before. All of these things are making it extremely unlikely for Pearl to not really have any impact on the story moving forward. Now, at this point, it is very unlikely that she's just going to stick with Rick, especially after she finds out who Michonne really is. So it's more likely that things are heading towards a direction where Pearl is going to cause so much headache for Rick to a point where Rick is going to try to get rid of her. Now, it could be either that Rick and Michonne escape and she's after them, or maybe if they do come back to CRM at some point, then maybe it gets to a point where Rick has enough of Pearl and just wants to put her down. Of course, he's going to have to be smart about how he does it because he doesn't want to point fingers towards himself. He doesn't want to leave any evidence behind that he was responsible. But think about it. What happens if Pearl gets killed? I think it's extremely likely that we're going to see a situation where Major General Beale will approach Rick to replace her. Now, we did hear Pearl say that Major General Beale wanted to brief Rick about something, but we don't know whether that's a promotion or whether it's something else. But I think if Pearl does in fact get killed, Rick is going to climb the ladders even quicker than before, and there's a very good chance he's going to replace her. And that's going to do a lot in terms of having him in a position where he could make some things happen from within the CRM. He would have a lot more pull that way. And this would be very much aligned with Okafor's dreams of making change from the inside. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this video. I mean, at this point, it's very likely that Pearl is going to be, let's say, one of two big bads of the season. The other one being Jadis, who we're going to talk about on a separate video. But it appears that Major General Beale is going to be the big bad of the universe, but he's not going to enter the story as this big bad quite yet. Even though we've heard a lot of bad things that he might have done, there's still this kind of ambiguity in terms of who he is and which side he's really on, and whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. And I'm sure that as we get closer and closer to revealing Major General Beale as the real big bad, we're going to get more clarification as far as his motivations and who he really is. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.